hot yoga for athletes. And I'm not just talking about professional athletes, I'm talking about runners, weightlifters, weekend warriors. You're playing basketball or softball on the weekends. Why do you have to do yoga? It's essential for you to do yoga. Not only will it improve whatever athletics you're involved in, but it's going to help prevent injury, especially as you get older. As you get older, your body is not going to be as pliable. It's not going to be as resilient. So now we start to stretch the body, move the body, strengthen and stretch at the same time in the techniques of hot yoga. It's going to make all the difference. So I've been in South Florida for over 40 years, and I've had the privilege to work with every single professional sports team in Florida. I worked with the Florida Panthers when I had my school in Plantation. I worked with the Miami Heat. I worked specifically with Ronnie Cycli, who is the center for the Heat. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had recommended he come to my class. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar was a big student of Bikram's. In fact, his son became a Bikram yoga teacher. So Kareem got on the phone and said to Ronnie, call Jimmy Barkan. Kareem said specifically he would not have played as long as he did in the NBA, and he played into his 40s if it wasn't for hot yoga. So I used to go to Ronnie's house. He lived in a very exclusive place called Star Island in Miami Beach, and he had this extraordinary mansion. Later on, when Shaquille O'Neal, when Shaq played for the Miami Heat, he actually bought Ronnie Cycli's house. So I was in Shaq's house before Shaq was in his house. So Ronnie didn't have a way of heating up the room, but he had a sauna in his house. So we'd sit in the sauna for about 10 minutes, warm up, go out and start to stretch. And the basketball players were extremely inflexible because they were so tall. The taller you are, the harder it is to do yoga. In gymnastics, it's the same way. When you're shorter, your center of gravity is lower. They call it COG, center of gravity. When your center of gravity is lower, it's easier for you to move your body. And I'm 6'1", so Bikram would always show me off. You know how hard it is to do yoga in that big body. The Miami Dolphin linemen were also extremely inflexible because they were so big. But interestingly enough, the centers, Jeff Ulenick, Tim Ruddy, they were the centers for the Miami Dolphins. They had extreme flexibility in their hips because they had to squat down to hike the ball. So why were they coming to my yoga class? What was the reason? I remember this one Florida Panther player was saying to me after class, he said, every time I do a class, it's just like money in the bank because I'm able to play my sport longer. I'm a lot more resilient. I'm going to prevent injury because of the range of motion that we're bringing into the body through these exercises. But what I want you to do right now is hit the subscribe button and hit the like button if you want to learn all about hot yoga and how it can enhance your life, and share it with your friends, leave a comment. One of the areas that especially men are very tight in is the hips. So when I worked with Jeff Conine, who played for the Florida Marlins, I used to go down to the stadium, teach him before the class. He would tell me that he would watch Joe DiMaggio, who played baseball long ago in the 40s and the 50s. When Joe DiMaggio would swing the bat and take a full swing, his hips were so flexible that they would turn all the way to third base. When Jeff Conine would hit the ball, this is what he was telling me, his hips would barely turn to first base. So he wanted that range of motion because he knew he was going to have more bat speed to hit the ball further. So that's when we started working on this lateral rotation for the hips. So a great posture for lateral rotation of the hips is pigeon pose and all the spine twist pose. Floor twist, or we call belly twist. So I started working with the Miami Dolphins because Dan Marino was recovering from his Achilles tendon surgery. So he started doing yoga with me. He couldn't even stand on that foot. What I had him do is to use the wall to balance. And within a very short period of time, we slowly got him away from the wall. We started to strengthen the quadricep muscles. We started to strengthen the leg, strengthen the surrounding muscles around the injured area. And he ended up winning the award for Greatest Comeback Player of the Year. And he said that hot yoga was better than all the physical therapy he had done put together. So not only is it going to prevent injury, it's going to also help to heal any injury that you may have, especially as runners. You're going to have hamstring issues. You're going to have heel and ankle issues. So we get into the yoga room, we start to extend the blood and oxygen into the body, which is going to help to heal, which is going to help with recovery, which is going to help to prevent injury as well. Now I want you to look at tree pose. We talked about lateral rotation of the hips. As we bring the foot up to the thigh, the knee works to the side. Let's go into the studio and look at tree pose. I'm going to get the foot up quite as high. Then the knee's going to go out to the right more and back as the pelvic area comes under, and that's an opposite direction. And as I started working with some of the professional players, Al Leiter was a pitcher for the Miami Marlins and other teams as well. And Jeff Ulenick at the time was the center for the Miami Dolphins. We became friends and we were playing golf. And Jeff said to me, you got to give me some type of breathing exercise that can help, because when we're down in the stadium, it's like being in this massive canyon and it's so hard to find your breath. We have major difficulty in breathing down in that stadium. So that's when I introduced to him the Ujjayi sound, the Ujjayi breath, which is going to help you again in any athletics you're involved in. Weekend warriors, runners, weightlifters, weightlifters. When you get this breath down, it's going to inflate the lungs and it can change your life. And finally, recovery is such a major part. In yoga, we do a final shavasana where we lay still, quiet. Iyengar, a very famous yoga teacher, says you should do a 20-minute final shavasana because in laying still, the blood, oxygen is now able to flow through your body, and as the blood and oxygen through the physical body into the cells, it promotes healing. And we also help to awaken the pranic and shakti energy, the more subtle energy, and they go in between the cells in the ethereal body. So now we have this holistic healing that takes place in recovery. But this final shavasana can be another extraordinary way to promote healing, rehabilitation. So whatever athletics you're involved in, a runner, weightlifter, weekend warrior, you want to do hot yoga to keep your body healthy, to prevent injury, and if you are injured, to use it to recover. A lot of times people say, well, call me on the phone in the old days when I had my studio, and they say, Jimmy, I can't do yoga because I just hurt my back. I got to take a couple weeks off. And I go, no, that's why you do it in the first place.
Are you out of your mind?
You want to do it to recover. Now you're going to do it in a different way. You're not going to do it as if you weren't injured. Now you go into what I call healing mode. I did a video on this channel called Healing Mode. Watch that video after you watch this one so that we can start to rehab the body physically, mentally, and spiritually. And whatever athletics you're involved in, it's definitely going to enhance it. I remember one time Dan Marino said, yoga's not going to make you a great player, but it can definitely make you a better player. So doing your yoga on a weekly basis, 4, 5, 6 times a week will not only prevent injury, but also enhance whatever athletics you're involved in. Hot yoga for athletes, you've got to do it. So that's our episode for today. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. If you want to learn all about hot yoga and how it can enhance your life, hit the like button, share it with your friends, and I'll see you at the next video. Bye, everyone.